What's up, everyone? Irving TV, Double I TV, whatever you guys want to call me, as long as it's not disrespectful. Because if it gets disrespectful, then oh, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do, y'all. I'm gonna get some shaving cream. I'm gonna mix it in your whipped cream, in the container of whipped cream, in hopes that you accidentally put it on some cake or whatever you plan on mixing it with. You just got off of work. You just had the most stressful day. You just had the most stressful day at work, right? And you know you got that piece of cake at home or whatever pastry or whatever sweet that you got at home, and you know you're gonna put some whipped cream on it. You've been looking forward to it all day. You get home and you take some of that whipped cream and you put it on your pastry or your sweet or your cake, whatever, and you just take a bite out of it, and it just ruins your whole day. That's what's gonna happen if it gets disrespectful. I think that was the longest one I've ever done of that. And I'd like to welcome y'all to episode, I hope this is right, 26 of Squirrel Moments, the podcast, with my silent co-host Steven the Squirrel. Say what's up, Steven. Right, we are back. We it's been basically, let's just say, a year since I dropped the last episode. It's been a year. It's been a year, y'all. But as y'all see, I'm still alive, a little bigger, but still alive. I'm still alive. I'm doing good. So a lot of life changes and all that incredible stuff. So a lot of stuff, and we're gonna discuss some of that stuff. Obviously, some stuff is personal and a lot of shit y'all don't need to know, but yeah. So right now, today it's March the 25th, 2025. It is 7:07 p.m. I got off of work a few hours ago. Then I went to the gym and all that kind of stuff because I ain't trying to be no big back. But yeah, that's what I got going on right now. I'd like to thank everybody who's tuned in, who's been supporting me throughout the years, whether I've been consistent, inconsistent, but the most consistent, inconsistent. Is that how you say it? The most inconsistent or the most consistently inconsistent. Fuck it. But yeah, I'd like to thank everybody who's been supporting me this far. I'd like to thank everybody for being patient with me. Yeah, of course, I've been dropping other content. I've been dropping other videos, this, that, and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. But one thing I always loved was the podcast. And when I first started this podcast, which I forgot what year I started, I think it was like 3 years ago, because I was still living with my dad's house at the time. When I first started the podcast, at that time when I got started, the reason why I started it, because I just wanted to talk. There were certain things I wanted to talk about. I wanted to go on rants and talk about certain subjects. Plus, I was inspired by other podcasters. And for my first time listeners / watchers, do not worry. This is not no blue pill, red pill, whatever it is. Beta males, and I hate those kind of podcasts. I was just talking about that at work today. I hate those kind of podcasts where it'd be like, oh, you gotta be disrespectful to your woman in order to keep her. Or when a woman be like, oh, he gotta make $100,000 before he even can put me back. See, shit is so ridiculous, I can't even say it right. They gotta have this and this and this and this before they can even take me on a date. And the first date, it gotta be my meal gotta be $500. I'm exaggerating, but not by much. I do not like those kind of podcasts because it's just like, we're so focused on the material, we're so focused on everything else, we forget about the love portion of it. Yes, of course. You know, you got to be able to, as a man, you got to be able to support. You got to be able to, what's the word that I'm looking for? You got to be able to provide. Yes. And as a woman, of course, you know, they got to do what they got to do. But at the same time, we keep forgetting the reason why we in this partnership is a partnership. So all these 50-50 conversation, whatever, I'm just going to say this real quick. And we're going to move on. just love each other. Just love each other. Remember, it's a partnership. You know, do what's right for you. Do not listen to these blue pill, red pills. Definitely don't listen to the blue pills because they can't get the dick hard. No, let me stop. But no, seriously, just love each other. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. We got a lot to talk about. Definitely got a lot to talk about. Again, I am glad to be back. I've been wanting to do the podcast for so long, but it's just so much life stuff. Cause one thing that I do when I'm preparing for the podcast, or like even throughout the week, I'm looking at, news story, and I'll save that news story to talk about later. Sometimes I get to it, sometimes I don't. But I have a lot of news story that's been saved up. Obviously, a lot of them is outdated now, but yeah. So what I was ready to say, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm off my game. I'm probably gonna be off my game on this episode because it's been so long since I recorded an episode, so I gotta get back in the vibe. I've been listening / watching my old episodes, so yeah. So again, I appreciate everybody, and if you want to support me, you can go ahead. If you're looking at if you're watching the video version, all my social medias are on the screen. If you listen to the audio version, all my social medias are iUrban You got YouTube, you got TikTok. Of course, I stream on Twitch, and I also stream on Kick. I'm also on Instagram, which I'm most active on, and of course Twitter /X, whatever they calling it. So yeah, I'm on all that. So go ahead and follow me, support me, and then also for my audio listeners, well, hold on, let me rewind it back a little bit. For my video watchers, if you like what you see, you like everything, another way to support me is go ahead and press that like button. Go ahead and drop a comment. I always get that word messed up. Comment. Yeah, go ahead and drop a comment. Go ahead and drop a like if you listen to the video listen to the video version. I told you I'm off my game today. If you listen to the audio version, go ahead and give it a rating, however the rating system work on whatever platform you're on, whatever is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I believe, what's the other one? Google Podcasts, I forgot. Whatever platform you're listening to, go ahead and give me 5-star rating or whatever the highest rating is, Be honest about it. But I prefer 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. But that was a weird hiccup. But anyway, you got anything else to say, Steven, before we get to it? Exactly. Let's get to it. You look, Steven's just as ready as I am. He been wanting to do the podcast for so long now, but it's been all me. It's been me. So, I forgot to say this too. You're not obligated to, but if you want to financially support the podcast, support the movement, support everything that I got going on, you can go ahead and make a donation at $$ iUrban, which is on the screen. And yeah, and obviously I just said it, so I don't have to say for the audio version, but y'all get it. But yeah, let's get to it. What have I been up to? Let me take a sip of this water real quick, because we're about to do a whole lot of talking. We got a whole lot of talking going on. Now, let me catch up on some light stuff real quick. Now, let me get to the bed. Let me get to the bed real quick. Now, this is I'll say this before, and I'm gonna say this again. When I tell stories about myself, when I tell, some personal stuff on myself, whether sad stories or whatever, again, I don't do this for the woe is me, the boo-hoos, or I don't want nobody to feel sorry for me for whatever I'm going through or whatever. When I tell these stories, I do it just to show that I'm human just like y'all. And yeah, I'm on camera and this and that. I got my own apartment. I got my own place. This, that, and whoop de whoop de whoop. But I don't have all this shit figured out. And the times that I think I do have it figured out, boom, life hits. That's the reason why I tell these stories or tell y'all what's going on with me, because I'm human just like y'all, and I don't have it all figured out. I'm not perfect, and what I hope for is people to look at me and be like, oh, okay, so it's okay that I'm going through this stuff. It's okay. I have a couple of steps back. Have a couple steps back and forth, which I think I'm gonna name this episode this. It was funny is actually that is what I named the episode, but I have a whole bunch of question marks because I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna name this episode, but I think that's gonna be the name of the episode, Steps Back and Forth. It's okay to take a couple steps back and forth because it's going to happen. As long as you're living, there's gonna be steps forth, step forth, steps back. It's going to happen. And I want everybody that is listening / watching to know that it is okay as long as you attend to intend on progression. As long as you don't get stuck on those steps back and you always want to go make those steps forth, it's okay. It's okay as long as you have a plan. If you don't have a plan, it's time to sit down. It's time to reset. It's time to step back and like, all right, what do I need to do to get back on track so I can make these steps back forward? Oh my gosh, I cannot talk. For all my new listeners, for all my new watchers, y'all gonna learn real quickly that I cannot talk. I stumble over my words. I stutter. Y'all also gonna learn that I have ADHD, which is the reason why I named the podcast Squirrel Moments, because if you don't know, usually when somebody has ADHD, their attention span, their attention can jump real quick. One thing you're talking about this, then you're talking about that, and then you're doing this, and then you're doing that. And one of the jokes is, and I say this, I believe, on the first episode, that you'll be doing something next thing you know, you see a squirrel, you be like, squirrel. So that's why I name it Squirrel Moments, because if I'm jumping like I'm doing now, if I'm jumping a different subject, that's what we call a squirrel moment. So, and that was just a natural thing. I literally did not plan that to happen. It happens with me, where I'll be talking about one thing, next thing you know, we're on a whole nother topic. But let's return it back. What was I ready to say? Life stuff. So the beginning of this year was kind of a rough start, because in January, the job that I was working at for about a year and a half, they let me go. It feels weird saying that, because other than my first job, I've never been fired before. I always left with another job lined up, usually. And when I meant by, okay, so let me go back real quick. My first job, I was fired, but it wasn't because of anything that I did. It was just they had a limited payroll, and in order to train somebody, they had to let me go, which I didn't get that reason to. I ain't gonna go on that. But long story short, I got sick and I missed too many days, and because it was a smaller company, they had to let me go. And I know some people are gonna be like, well, how come you didn't do leave? How come you didn't do this? How come you didn't do that? Whoopty whoopty whoop. I know about leave, trust me. I know about leave. I know about FMLA, all that kind of stuff. Which, if you don't know, FMLA, and I talked about this on another episode. Family Medical Leave Act, I believe. I think that's what that is. I should know this by now. FMLA. Let's see. Family and Medical Leave Act of 1993. Yep. So, and I know about all this stuff, but it happened so suddenly, and then it's just because, well, first of all, because it's a smaller company, the company I was working for, they didn't have FMLA, which I literally just found out about that like right before they let me go. Because it's a smaller company. If it's a company of 50, less than 50 employees, then they don't have FMLA. So yeah, I got sick, and then they let me go. So the last month and a half was a rough one. So that's why y'all didn't really see me too much. Because there's some guilt that kind of comes behind that. You're like, okay, I'm not employed, so why am I sitting the rent up? Now, granted, I've always said this, I want to do content creation full time in the future, but it is a lot of work behind that. But that being said, even though this is something I want to do in the future, there's no money coming in. So it's like, I just can't sit around, play video games and make content all day. It's cool, but it just, there was some guilt behind that and some other stuff that was happening behind the scenes, which I'm not even gonna get into that. But yeah, so that's what was going on. Now luckily I'm about to sneeze. But yeah, luckily I had my second job. I do live on the side. I talked about this before. Luckily I had that. So I still had some income coming in, but just not as much. Cause there was a point in time I was working my full-time job and doing Lyft about 2 to 3 times a week, which added to one of the reasons why I got sick. I was just overworking. I was overworking, and then it just hit me, and then yeah, that's what happened. I think I overworked myself. So, but with that being said, I ended up getting a new job in my field. And if you don't know, for all my, why am I doing this? If you're watching the video version, you see my hands look like I'm about to do a rap or something. About to do a rap, even though I used to do music back in the day. But let's come back. The good news is I got a new job in my field, which what I was ready to say, but I totally forgot, which is another thing with ADHD. The short-term memory is terrible. But I work in the field of IT. So, and the thing is, when I was working my last job, I was kind of looking for another job because the pay was and plus some other stuff that was going on, which I knew I had to go, and I was very limited there, plus some other stuff. But when I got let go, I kind of started broadening, because there was a certain, because since I was working, there was a certain number that I wanted, you know, as far as money goes. There was a certain amount that I wanted, and it was hard to get a job. And it wasn't nothing too crazy. I just wanted a slight jump from what I was making before, which, funny enough, I am making more at this job. Not too much more, but I'm making a little bit more at this job that I'm working at now. So, and the good thing is, I don't have to work with people. And when I say I don't have to work with people, I'm not talking about like coworkers and stuff. I can deal with coworkers. I don't have to do customer service, or thank goodness, because when it comes to me and customer service, because I have anxiety, and it is just, when stuff don't go people way, they take it out on you. And that's not the part that really gets to me when they start taking it out on you. They take it out on me, and then the anxiety kicks in because I feel like, oh, I fucked up here, and then it's gonna get back to my boss, get back to my job, and then they're gonna let me go because I didn't do a good enough job taking care of that customer. In which, of course, you know, if you got a decent manager, supervisor, whatever, they always tell you can't make everybody happy, which I know. But when your boss or supervisor has a big boss, then if that big boss get word of that, then be like, all right, you gotta let him go. So, which is not what happened. Again, I got sick. That's why they let me go at the job I was previously working at. But what was I ready to say? It's just customer service, and because I worked call center jobs before, twice actually, didn't work out well. Worked retail before, didn't work out well. But again, I don't want nobody feeling sorry for me, so I'm gonna move on forward. So I ain't gotta work with people no more. Again, if you know me by now, you know I do not tell y'all where I work. I'm not saying no names or nothing. I will say though, it is a contracting job. It's a contractor IT job. I will say that much. And we're contracted under the big name, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. It is a big name. So, and the work that I'm doing right now, it's so relaxing. It's physical labor. Don't get me wrong. It's physical labor. It's a data center. But it's y'all look, y'all just seen the stress or hear the stress just leave my body. Oh my gosh, we're at 21 minutes already, or 20 minutes, however it's gonna come up. But so now things are a little better. It's been a while since I did Lyft because I'm kind of tired of doing Lyft because I'm tired of people in my cars and all that kind of other stuff and people disrespecting my car. But which is another thing I have to talk about too, as far as my car goes. So yeah, that happened. So I feel good about that. I feel good about where I'm working at. Hopefully I get converted over to permanent, all that stuff, because again, it's a contract job. So, but either way, I feel good. Again, I haven't did Lyft in a while because I'm trying to just do one job. I'm trying to, because when you work in two jobs, it's one thing if you're doing like once, maybe twice every week or every other week or something like that, or you work in two jobs because you want the extra money. But when you have to do it, that shit takes a toll. And again, that's one of the reasons why I got sick. So I might do it here and there, but I'm not gonna do it as heavy. I'm not gonna do it as heavy. And you know, speaking of Lyft and all that kind of stuff, before all of this happened, before I got fired and all this stuff, sometime last year, I think it was October. I'm gonna say October, I believe. Yeah, October last year, I ended up getting a new car. Now, before y'all start going up in arms and being like, well, if you all, you know, why'd you get a new car? You always talk about being better and safe with your money and this and that. I didn't want to get a new car. I really did not want to get a new car. I didn't want to, but I had to. And the reason why, because I have my 2012 Dodge Charger RT. That car was paid for. It was paid for. That's why I didn't want to get another car. But the car was starting to fall apart. It seemed like every other month I had to do work to it. It was, I want to say, within a span of 2 to 3 months, I had put over $1,000, maybe over $2,000 worth of, I don't even know the numbers, but I put a lot of money was put towards the work that it needed, and it still needed more work. That's why I got rid of it, because one thing people will always say, if you find yourself having to always put work after work after work after work after work behind it, it's time to get rid of it. But this is my mindset. My mindset was more of okay, I'm gonna downgrade the car. but it's still gonna be within a certain. It's still gonna be a certain year, so that way I can still do lift for the side, still make money, and this and that. And I was hoping that I'll sell my car for a certain amount, so I could just buy a car outright, but it didn't work that way. So unfortunately, I got a car note, but it's a real low car note, and it's only for like 3 years, 3.5 years, I believe. So it's not long, thank goodness. But the car that I got is super reliable. It's a 2011 Honda Accord, but it's not just a regular Honda Accord. It's a V6. You know, I had to get a car with some kick to it. Of course, the Charger had a V8. I gotta have a car with a little bit of kick in it, but it's still better on gas with the V6 than the V8. So, and I thought I'd never say this. I've been telling everybody this, but I never thought I would like a Honda. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with Hondas. Nothing wrong with Hondas. You know, the reliable cars like Toyota, those kind of cars. Nothing wrong with it. I just never saw myself having one of those cars. But you know, I grew up. I learned. And one of my whole mindset was, and I'm gonna give some game real quick. My whole mindset was, and let me tell you something, it's a nice fucking Honda. It is nice. You know, I've never been a fan of leather seats, but this one got leather seats in it, and this one has a subwoofer. Oh, it's nice, and I got it for a good price, and I end up trading in the Charger. This is not me flexing, because again, my whole mindset was I'm gonna downgrade my car, get something that's better in gas, that's more reliable. All you gotta do is just do the basic maintenance and all that kind of stuff. You might have to do a repair here and there, but it's not every other goddamn month I gotta do a repair. And so far, this Honda has been reliable. I know I've only had it for like about 6 months now, I want to say. October, November, December, January, February, March. 5, 6 months. But this is a good ass purchase. Like I said, I didn't want a car note or anything of that nature, but I was putting too much money into the Charger, and you know, when you are already in a financial situation, you just can't keep throwing money. And the Honda, it is high mileage, but again, it's a Honda. And from the looks of it, whoever had it before me took care of it, because the inside looks almost new. The engine bay, all that stuff looked good. So yeah, so there was a couple of reasons why I chose that car. Again, the reliability is spacious. I had to get used to it being as quiet as it is, and what I mean by that is because my Charger, of course, it was loud. It had dual exhaust with a muffler delete, so it was pretty loud. So not super loud, but loud enough. It had that rumble, had that growl, I can't growl right now, but it had that growl to it. So now I had to get used to it being that quiet, which actually now I'm so glad. I'm glad I got a low key car now. I'm just glad I got a low key car for multiple reasons. So yeah, I had to get something more reliable. Hopefully when I pay this one off, let me get some years off it. Hopefully I get to pay it off early. Hopefully things work out. I clear off my other debt, and then I can pay this car off early. I didn't want a car note. So, but yeah, that was my big purchase of 2014. So it came with good tires. Again, it gives good mileage, get much more, not as good as the 4-cylinder, but definitely better than the Charger that I had. Definitely better mileage. My insurance went down. Let me put y'all on game real quick. I know I said this earlier. What was I ready to say? What was I ready to say? Them big, the newer your car is, the faster your car is, the more expensive your car is. Anything that ups the, I ain't gonna say up the value of the car. Anything that makes your vehicle expensive to work on, if anything happened to it, the more expensive your insurance is going to be. So when I got that Honda, got rid of the Charger, my insurance went down a decent amount. So just be mindful of that when you car shopping and you at the dealership or paying for a car outright, whatever your situation is. Be mindful of that, because when I used to work at Progressive Insurance, you will be, now granted, COVID was at its peak during this moment, it was at its peak. Everything's going up, everything's soaring, prices going up. When people call me like, why my insurance going up? I tell them basically inflation. Some people understood, some people like, I remember one guy, he was like, man, ain't no inflation, man, my rent still whatever. I thought I was safe from my rent going up, boy. Anyway, no, but in all seriousness, when I was working there, I remember somebody called about why the insurance going up, and then they complained once I told them it was inflation. But I'm looking at their policy. They got Mercedes, Benz, BMWs. I ain't talking about no old ones. I'm talking about 2020, 2018, all that kind of stuff. I just be scratching my head like, are you really complaining when you got these expensive ass cars? Let me tell you something real quick. When it comes to cars, and I've always had this mindset, but I also like cars, muscle cars, sports cars, and things like that. Although now that I got that out of my system, because 2012 Dodge Charger RT was my dream car, and I had it for a while. So now that it's out of my system, I really don't care too much. I still gotta have a little kick, but a car is meant to get you. And I need to go to the next thing because I'm talking up a storm. But a car is supposed to get you from A to B. I'm not saying you're not allowed to have a nice car that has this and that and whoop. But if you have a budget of, let's say $8,000, why are you trying to get a $15,000 car just because it has certain bells and whistles and this, that, and whoop? But I'm a simple person, and again, I'm not knocking nobody that get what they get. If you love a Lexus, if you want a Lexus or what's it, an Acura? Because I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I've been starting to, maybe this is my age, but I've been starting to fall in love with those Acuras and Lexuses. I'm not saying I would get one, although if somebody gave me the money right now to get one, I want to use that money for that Lexus or that Acura. I'll use it to clear up my debt and stack up. But I'm sorry, y'all. The point I'm trying to make is stick what you mean. Oh my gosh. Stay within your means and don't go bankrupt over trying to get this car just because it has the extra bells and whistles. Again, I got lucky with the subwoofer in my because I like to play my music and this and that and whoop. I got lucky with certain features on the car because, first of all, the car was already in my budget, but I got lucky with those features. Like I said, I don't really care about leather seats, but it's cool. If it didn't come with a subwoofer, I would have been fine with it. But I didn't even know it was in there until one day I was playing with the radio, and I just so happened to see the option for subwoofer. I was like, oh, cool. And it has the auxiliary port, which I plug up to your device, play music, whatever. But if you don't know, most current phones don't have that port anymore. So what I was ready to do was get a whole new radio, But then I just end up getting the like adapter, which is a USB-C adapter, which you plug up the charger to it, but also plug up the auxiliary port to it as well. It was no more than $10, and I'm fine with it. I've been rocking with it ever since, so I'm fine with it. So I just got lucky with those features. So the air work, the heat work. Again, it drives back and forth. So I'm grateful for everything that I have. And the moment when, sorry y'all, between the chair squeaking and me getting congested, I'm all over the place. But I'm grateful, and I'm about to wrap this up. But I'm just grateful. I'm still going through some shit. I'm still trying to recover, trying to crawl my way out of this hole, but I'm still grateful for what I have. Again, I got this new job, which I wish I had to get fired to get this new job, but it happened. I'm getting paid a little bit more. It's a better job, closer to home. I'm grateful for all of that. In the moment, I don't feel grateful, but I am grateful. So still got a roof over my head. Obviously, I'm still able to eat. And that's why another thing too is I joined the gym. So I've been in and out of the gym, trying to get to that consistent level, trying to be 3 days a week. But I'm not going to talk about that because I don't like to talk about it. I just like to do. So anyway, you got anything to say or add to that, Steven? Thank you. I appreciate that, Steven. I appreciate the words of encouragement. I really thank you, and I appreciate it, Steven. But moving on, what I've been doing as far as stuff that don't involve the bad part of life or the adulting, I should say. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Shadows as of late. Well, it just came out last week. I've been looking forward to this game. I hope I said that right. I told you I can't talk, but I've been looking forward to this game for a while. And when it got delayed, I was like, okay, that's fine, because I was playing Star Wars Outlaws and some other game. I don't remember what else I was playing, but I have other games I can play. My Steam library is full, but because of course it has the Black Samurai Yasuke, amongst other things, and Naoi, I always pronounce her name wrong. She's a good fucking character too, honestly, because I'm not gonna spoil it too much, but when you first start the game, you do play as Yasuke. But then after that, you play as Naoi for like a good while. Like, depending on what mode you have, because you can have it on canon mode where they kind of just straightforward, you still have that open world experience, but it's straightforward. Or you can have the full on experience where it encourages you to play more side missions, to do this and that and the other. So, and I streamed that game 3 days straight. I think day 1 I did like 5 hours. Day 2 I did 4. Day 3 I did like an hour and a half. So you're looking about almost 10 hours before they cross path. I'm not gonna get into. I'm trying not to get into spoilers, but it takes a while before they cross paths. So, but when it happens, it's the timing is great. The timing is it's good. So, and honestly, right now, I am not disappointed at all. Like, I know a lot of people have been disappointed in Ubisoft, whatever you call it. And for the most part, I'm not gonna say they're wrong, because Ubisoft has been doing some shady stuff. They've been, and then like most of their games have been releasing as of late. Although Star Wars Outlaws is pretty good and people had what they had to say about it, I thought it was a fun game, but I understood it. And then some of the games were starting to get repetitive. So, and I haven't played Assassin's Creed in a long time. The last one I played was Odyssey, and I only played it for like an hour because for some reason I couldn't get into it in the moment. I think I couldn't. I was indecisive about what I wanted to play at the time. But and I'm not saying Odyssey is bad because a lot of people enjoy Odyssey. I know Valhalla people had their problems with. The last Assassin's Creed that I beat was Origins. I love Origins. Because it starts in Egypt. But yeah, I'm and maybe because I haven't played Mirage yet neither. But you know, people have been expecting the worst out of Ubisoft. People have been hating the game before it even came out. People have been upset about a black man, a black samurai. People saying it's not historically accurate, even though it's historically been proven that there was a black. Well, he wasn't considered a samurai, but he was with the samurais. If I got that correct, I might be wrong on that part, but Yasuke is, and let me say this real quick. While yes, all the Assassin's Creed games has been based off historical events, it's not gonna be historically accurate. Come on now, motherfucking, you're fighting the Pope, or was it the first one or the second one? I don't remember which one, but you're literally fighting the fucking Pope. Come on now, and then you got these apples of Eden. Using all these powers, advanced civilization, all that kind of stuff. Come on now. People have been upset about that. But I've been playing the game and I'm satisfied. Some people. Now, if some people don't like the game because of Ubisoft. Hold on. No. I got that backwards. If people don't like the game simply because, you know, you're not into it or whatever, all right, cool. But people be just making up stuff. But getting past the negatives, I'm gonna tell you a funny thing that I saw on TikTok the other day. Failed assassinations are funny. Failed assassinations are funny. There was this one, somebody was trying to do a double assassination and they grabbed Naomi by both her arms, turned her around and like just tossed her ass. That was so funny. I burst out laughing. And what made it more funny, it was her facial expression. She had the face of pure fucking panic. So I'm happy with Assassin's Creed. I'm having so much fun. It's been a while since I streamed like that, back to back to back like that. I think the last time I streamed back to back like that was with Starfield. And even then, I don't think I did 3 days in a row. I might have did 2, or I might have did 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off. But 3 days back to back to back, I don't think I've done that. So if you was gonna trust my recommendation, I recommend getting Assassin's Creed. I recommend getting Assassin's Creed. What you think about Assassin's Creed, Steven? They might got some squirrels in there. I know they got some other animals in there. You know, oh, let me tell you something real quick. I recently learned about I just recently learned about a new animal just because I was playing this game. What is it? Hold up. Shit. Oh, here we go. A Japanese raccoon dog. Matter of fact, I'm gonna show y'all right now. A Japanese raccoon dog. I forgot the Japanese name for it, but a Japanese raccoon dog. Hold on. Japanese raccoon dog. All right. Let me switch over real quick. Yep, a Japanese raccoon dog. The Japanese name for it is Tanuki. I think that's how you pronounce it. Tanuki. And the funny thing is, when I first saw it, I was like, that looked like a fucking raccoon. And then when I looked at the name, Japanese raccoon dog. So Unfortunately, you can't legally have one. Like even if you was in the country of Japan, you cannot legally have one. It would be nice though. It would be nice to have some more cute animals in the house, and this, that, and the other. Keep Steven busy because he be bothering me. You don't be bothering me. Oh, I be bothering you. I don't be bothering you. Now I do bother Dusty, which if y'all don't know, Dusty is my rabbit. But yes, I have a rabbit. But so yeah, the thing I like about the Assassin's Creed games is it definitely makes me go back and check history and all that stuff. And you know what's funny? Beyond Assassin's Creed, let's go to Ghost of Tsushima real quick, which is why I think because people been requesting an Assassin's Creed in Japan for a very long time because it just makes sense, because you got shinobis and samurais, so it makes sense to have an Assassin's Creed in Japan. I think Ghost of Tsushima put a foot in Ubisoft's ass to finally be like, you know what, let's do this. I'm glad they didn't rush it, but it finally was like, let's do this. And see, here's the thing, I'm jumping over the place, I'm having a squirrel moment, but I love the Japanese culture. I really love the Japanese culture. I know how to make a couple of Japanese dishes, like onigiri, which is Japanese rice balls. But when I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, damn, I'm really talking a lot. I thought I was gonna be off my game, but apparently not. But I'm saying a lot of and yeah, whatever. But you got to get back into the flow of things. But I love the Japanese culture, so I remember I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, and that made me wanted to go to the Japanese garden, because we in Richmond we have a park called Maymart Park, and it's a huge park. It has like a small zoo, this and that. And they had this portion which is Japanese garden. I remember I went there, I made some onigiri, went there, ate some onigiri, and then I meditated on one of the rocks or whatever, because it was like a waterfall, which I need to start meditating again. And with that being said, I'm going somewhere down the line, I'm going to the Japanese garden. I'm gonna make some onigiri or whatever Japanese dish I'm gonna make, or go there, relax, I'm gonna meditate, whatever, because it's been a long time since I meditated, and I need to start doing it again, because life is but what the fuck was that? Yo, first of all, let me say this real quick. I appreciate everybody that's watching me right now who has stuck around, and whoever finds me entertaining, because if you decide to click away but like this shit is ass, I'm not mad at you. I don't think I'm ass, but if you decided to click away but like, what the fuck is this shit? Excuse my language. Not really excuse my language. Excuse my language. I don't blame you, but the people that's sitting here and supporting me and watching and listening and all that stuff, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But let's go back. Where was I at? I just had another squirrel moment. But where was I at? Oh yeah, can I tell y'all a fun fact real quick? Well, let me say this real quick. I'm gonna tell you a fun fact. When I first went to the Japanese garden a couple of years ago, when Ghost of Tsushima came out, it was also during the peak of COVID as well. It was actually COVID just started to die down. When I went, it was kind of unkept because, of course, with COVID and all that stuff, people wasn't working. So it was still beautiful, but it was unkept. So hopefully the next time I go, it'd be more well kept. It's not as hot, because it was hot as shit when I last went. So it's a nice place. It's quiet. Although when I last went, there was a group of kids that went, but it was cool though. And the funny thing was, when I was meditating, I kind of peeked my eye open and I saw this kid not too far across from me, and he was doing the same too, and I had to chuckle a little bit at that. So, but it was cool. So that's my next plan, to go to the Japanese garden and just go there and meditate. But back to the fun fact, I used to study Buddhism. I started studying Buddhism right when I started doing iUrban TV, which I don't even feel like doing the math. But at that time, I was dealing with a breakup, dealing with a lot of stuff. And I was working at a pharmacy at the time. My pharmacist was telling me about Buddhism. So then I started doing some self-studying. And then I went to a Buddhist temple. It's not really it's more of a house, but I'm just gonna call it a Buddhist temple. I was going there, I was studying it, I was doing the actual meditations, the 30-minute to an hour meditations, and I think I want to start doing that again. I think I want to start practicing Buddhism again, I think. But I'm going to leave it at that, because when it comes with religious stuff, I don't like talking about it. So that's a personal thing. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But I just want to be happy. That's all. And go into the Japanese culture. That's not me saying I'm abandoning my own culture, my black culture and all this, because I would never abandon that. But I do love the Japanese culture. So yeah, that's why I love doing this podcast, because I talk about one thing and end up going to another thing. I'm all over the place. But yeah, that I've been playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. And speaking of Assassin's Creed Shadows, since we're about to go to the stories, because the fact that I'm not at the stories yet and we're almost an hour in tells me that this is going to be a long one, and I'm glad I decided to take out one of my stories, because this is going to be long. But speaking of Assassin's Creed, this is going to segue into wait a minute. I'm sorry. Before we go any farther, no, I'm sorry. I've already asked Steven about Assassin's Creed and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Story. Oh, you had something to say about meditation in the Japanese garden? Might take you one day, although people might look at me weird. They're gonna see me talking to a squirrel and they're gonna be like, if you're watching the video version, I'm making a weird ass face, like a what the fuck face, like a face that he needs to be hospitalized. But yeah, let's get into the stories. And the first story, Ubisoft is defending their developers. Now, as of late, with the age of the internet, if something is bad or people don't like something, they don't just attack the game itself. They don't just criticize the game, but they start making death threats to the developers, start sending them all kind of weird messages and just being unnecessary. So Ubisoft has a plan to defend their developers. And this story is from boundingintocomics.com. It was published on March 17th, and it reads as follows. Let's go ahead and switch over. All right. So Ubisoft will reportedly take legal action against critics who harass Assassin's Creed Shadows devs post-release. Quote, there's a team in place to monitor networks and act swiftly in the event of a targeted attack, end quote. And this was written by Spencer Baculi, Baculi. So, according to a new report, why am I getting congested all of a sudden? I'm sorry, y'all. According to a new report, in anticipation of the Cavalcade, I think I'm saying that right, Cavalcade, Cavalcade, a criticism that will undoubtedly meet Assassin's Creed Shadows upon release, Ubisoft is apparently prepared to take direct legal action against any and everyone whose criticisms exceed negative reviews / mocker wide and cross the line into full-blown harassment. That was the word I was looking for, harassment. Let me see. Word of the French developers' forward-facing legal plans was first made public courtesy of a March 16 report from Melinda Davin Solas, Soulas, as published by French news outlet BFM Tech and Co. Tech and Company. I'm sorry, y'all. Speaking to a member of the, okay, now that grammar was kind of bad. That's on their end. Speaking to a member of the game specific Ubisoft Quebec dev team ahead of the upcoming 2025 Games Developer Conference, that was a mouthful, regarding the game's development, Devon Solis learned that Assassin's Creed Shadows team was not only aware of just how crucial the game's performance was to the company's survival. Ooh, that's putting it lightly. But has supposedly taken this pressure to heart during the recent delay period. Quote, if the game performs moderately, we're really in trouble, end quote, say one anonymous employee. Quote, if Shadows sells very well, we'll be able to start breathing a sigh of relief, end quote. Quote, it's a whole bunch of quotes. The teams crunched like never before to finish it, added another. They really needed that extra month, end quote. Quote, there are seniors who worked every day to complete it, end quote. They further noted, quote, it was pretty crazy, end quote. Do I really gotta keep saying quote? Actually, I really never said quote before in my previous one, so if it's back to back like that, I'm not gonna do it. To this end, unless I really should. To this end, one gosh, maybe I'm not into the flow of things. To this end, one Ubisoft Quebec employee told Devon Solis that the team was rather optimistic about Assassin's Creed Shadows' potential sales success thanks to its pre-order numbers, which are supposedly neck and neck with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but remain below those for the franchise's best-selling entry, Valhalla. Quote, already, if it sells like Odyssey, which is the second best-selling game of all time, we'd be happy, end quote, said the insider. Further, Devin Solis noted that one of her contacts confirmed that there does exist a fear among Ubisoft employees that Sucker Punch's upcoming Ghost of Yoti, I think I pronounced that right, which is the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, which shares a feudal Japanese setting with Shadows, could outperform Yasuke and Naoi's adventure both culturally and financially in the long term. However, no clarification as to how extreme this fear is, as in, was this a genuine, true, keep them up at night worry, or simply we want to beat the competition sentiment, was provided by either the insiders or Devon. That might be Devon. Devan. It's Davan. Somebody correct me. Davin Solis. On the topic of the game's reception, one employee did reveal that in light of the highly critical environment it will be released into, Ubisoft leadership was taking concrete steps to protect their workers from undue harassment by Shadow's more fervent critics. Quote, we are advised not to post on social networks that we work at Ubisoft to avoid harassment, end quote. That's sad, y'all. That's sad. I'm not reading right now. That is sad. That which is another reason why I never tell y'all where I work at for the purpose of harassment. You know, that thing, y'all find out where I work at and then start harassing my job and this and that. I don't need that. But anyway, but it's worse for the developers, because if you're a developer, let me switch over real quick. Let's say you're a developer, right? And they come to find out that you was a developer at a studio that made a game that was not well received. They're going to fucking harass you, send you death threats, all that kind of shit, which is so unnecessary. But let's get back to the story real quick. Let me drink this water. Okay. But more than just a simple walk away from the screen recommendation, the company has also reportedly moved to adopt a concrete anti-harassment plan specifically aimed at shielding employees from online attacks. It's an initiative of Canada, explained a representative from Ubisoft Quebec Work Council. A primarily European concept, these groups exist to facilitate communication between a given company's leadership and their workforce. There's a team that monitors the networks and acts quickly in the event of a targeted attack. Quote, contrary to what we've had until now, this is serious business, the representative asserted. While neither the representative nor any of her insider sources went on the record regarding the exact mechanics of the anti-harassment plan, according to a recap provided by Devon Solis, messages posted by internet users on X, which used to be Twitter, Reddit, or even videos on YouTube will be closely monitored by a dedicated unit in order to react promptly to the slightest problem. Lawyers are already on hand to lodge complaints in the event of proven harassment. They really mean business, as they should. Just how stringent and sensitive Ubisoft's legal team will be to critics and what they will attempt to classify as harassment will ultimately be revealed in the aftermath of Assassin's Creed Shadows release, which is currently on the track for 20, which is already out. So so that was an old story. Well, only by a couple of days, but yeah, Ubisoft is defending their devs as they should, and I can see people right now be like, oh, why they being so sensitive? They can't take criticism and all that stuff. It's not the criticism that they're defending against. It's the harassment. Criticism is one thing. You can say a game is shitty all day long. You can say, I don't like this game because of this, that. I don't like this game, whoop. And while I do think some people are over the top with some criticism, it's criticism at the end of the day. But when people start harassing employees, sending death threats and going over the top, that's a problem. That's a problem. Why are you harassing the devs just because a game wasn't good? You know, I understand that, hey, you might not be happy with the product that you got. All right, cool. Like, if you go to a restaurant and the food isn't good, you say, hey, you go to the waiter or waitress, say, hey, I don't like this. This wasn't good. Can I get something else? Woo. You don't start going to the waiter or waitress or the restaurant staff and like, hey, yo, fuck you. You a bitch and this and that and woo. Excuse my language. Not really. But let me stop saying that. But you don't start harassing them, calling them names, making death threats. You don't do that just because something wasn't good. That is way over the top. Like, and I was just talking about this on my stream the other day. Let's go to Star Wars real quick. You know, this whole notion that people say Star Wars is dead, which is a criticism, and that's an opinion. You're allowed. I don't agree with it, but okay, cool. If you think Star Wars is dead, by all means, you're allowed to have that opinion. You're allowed to have that criticism. It's when they start harassing the actors, bullying them, and things of that nature. Don't bully the actors. Don't fuck with the actors just because they wrote a bad movie. And even to the people that made the bad movie, who had the, who wrote that, criticize them, but leave it at that. What's with the death threats? It's so unnecessary. It's just why, and that's why I'm with this. Whether it could possibly be over the top, but when people do stupid shit, when people start doing stupid stuff, harassing people over a video game, and I get it. You spend $70 on a product that was ass. I get it. But how many times have we spent money on something and we didn't like it? What we do? We have our little complaints and then we just move on, just whatever. Y'all over the top. What you think about this method, Stephen, on what they doing? You say you want to be part of that team? What would you do if you was on that team? Would you take legal action, or what action would you take? Using your teeth. Oh. Let's move on. I forget that sometimes you might be silent. Doesn't mean you're not violent. But I get it. I get it. If you didn't have fun with something, then I totally understand. But that's no cause to harass or send people death threats and things of that nature. And speaking of fun, there's some a real popular gamer producer have said that fun isn't enough anymore when it comes to gaming. And this story also comes from Bounding Into Comics. And let me go ahead and switch over, and it reads as follows. And this one's also from, oh my gosh. I'm sorry, like I said, I need to get back to the flow of things. This one is also from Spencer Bakuli. Ooh. And this one was posted on March the 22nd. Reads as follows. Let's see. Resident Evil 4 and Devil May Cry 4 producer admits industry has grown to point where a game just being fun isn't enough to sell. And offering an admittedly depressing summary of the current state of the industry, veteran video game producer, okay, I know I'm gonna butcher this, Hiroyuki Kobayashi, I think I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I apologize. Somebody correct me. Says that unlike years past, the success of a given title now depends on far more than it just being fun. Now, before I continue reading, there are some times where I read the whole article, or sometimes I might skim over it, or sometimes I might not read over it at all. So if you see me stuttering and having issues reading it, it's because I haven't read it yet. Another reason why I do that is because sometimes I want to give y'all my genuine reaction, or sometimes I want to be surprised by what I read. So, but let's go back. Kobayashi, who served as a producer on a number of Capcom titles, including Devil May Cry 4, Resident Evil 4, and every Sengoku Basara entry before leaving to form his current GP Track 50 studio, provided this insight into the modern video game industry while speaking to Tekken franchise director Katsuhiro Harada, I'm so sorry, y'all, for the latest entry of Famitsu's behind the scenes of game development creator on creator interview series. I'm gonna have to watch. You know what? I'm gonna make note of that real quick. Behind the scenes of game development. Okay, I'm gonna make note of that real quick. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm getting distracted, but that seems very interesting. Okay, let's come back. Reflecting on the fact that the ever-growing nature of the industry had led to a similar change in their respective workloads, Kobayashi opinion, quote, in the past, game development often started with a simple thought like, this seems fun. If a team had enough development experience, the game would somehow turn into a hit. But nowadays, just being fun isn't enough to sell, end quote. Another quote, we need to conduct thorough marketing beforehand, analyze which audience the game will appeal to, and clearly define the target, end quote, he explained. If we don't, the game won't be well. Oh my gosh, hold on, I got something, y'all, I'm sorry. This is a terrible episode. I hope for that 5 stars and like though, but this is a terrible episode. But if we don't, the game won't be well received. For example, the title we're currently developing is aimed at the overseas gaming market. I say this now, it probably won't sell very well in Japan. Asked by Harada if this meant he and his team had made a clear decision from the start regarding their creative direction, Kobayashi confirmed, quote, yes, because if we don't clarify oh my God. Yes, because if we don't clarify that up front, at some point, someone will suggest maybe we should make it more appealing to the Japanese market too, end quote. If we go down that road, all right, maybe I should do some research on how to read that when there's quotes back to back to back. Do you say end quote, quote? I need to learn more of that. I need to educate myself. If we go down that road, for now, I'm not even gonna say quote, end quote for now. I'm gonna leave it like I usually do it, how I used to do it. Anyway, if we go down that road, the game itself will gradually lose its original focus, he said. That's why we set a clear direction from the beginning. This game is made for the specific audience, emphasized Kobayashi. Agreeing with Kobayashi's point, Harada recalled the process of shaping a project today is very different from the past. Back when we were young, like in the 90s when we were developing Tekken, we led with our passion saying, this is the kind of fighting game we want to make. And a lot of people follow us because of that enthusiasm. But today, with so many entertainment choices available, we have to be extremely precise about who we're targeting. To this end, hold on, I need a sip of water, y'all. What was I at? Right. To this end, the Tekken boss will later inquire. I think many Japanese fans for love for it to be a domestically. My gosh, let's start over. To this end, the Tekken boss will later inquire. I think many Japanese fans would love for it to be a hit domestically as well. Even if you adjust the look or marketing strategy, it is still difficult to make it more appealing in Japan. To which Kobayashi would confirm, I just don't think the gameplay will match Japanese preferences. So, all right, I'm done reading that. The point that article was making is that back in the day, it used to be if you had a fun concept and you knew what you was doing, a game could sell just because it was fun. Nowadays, a game could be so much fun and yet it could do bad. Like, for example, I know people will say otherwise. Like, for example, Star Wars Outlaws, which is the reason why Assassin's Creed Shadows was delayed, because it sold okay, but in Ubisoft standards, it didn't sell that good. And some people gonna say the game wasn't that fun. I would have to wholeheartedly disagree. That game was fucking amazing. Like, of course it had its flaws, whatever, but it's not nowhere near as bad as people was making it. You can have a great game and it won't sell no more because, again, like they said, the market is so big, and also some people just not happy with certain things. For one, because of what they say, quote unquote, wokeness, and or that studio has been kind of iffy as of late. But yeah, what you think about that, Steven? You think video games should be more fun? But I mean, see, here's the thing: video games are fun, but it's so many. And I think another issue is as well, just like the article said, it's so many options out there. But also, especially at least with, in the West, more specifically America, we're going through a whole bunch of shit right now financially and all that kind of stuff. So we want to be able to spend our money without feeling like we just made a bad purchase. Which that goes back to what I was saying earlier about Assassin's Creed and all that kind of other stuff. What was I ready to say? Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart right now. But then that being said, if you do make a bad purchase, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to have some criticism. Just don't go overboard. And then speaking of fun and games, that's gonna segue to my next story, my next article, which have you ever heard of too much balance is unbalanced? Well, this next article is going to explain that, and it's from GamesRadar.com. It was published on March the 19th by Jordan Gerblick, and it reads as follows. I think it's Gerblick, Jordan Gerblick, yeah, Gerblick. So it says, Helldivers 2 director says balance is a myth and devs shouldn't spend more than 5% of their time on it. If you balance out all of the chaos, you've made an uninteresting game, which I agree with. Arrowhead's Johan Palestad, I still have yet to learn how to pronounce his name, says if you spend all of your time on game balance, you're an idiot. I like he just outright just said it. Helldivers 2 director Johan Palestad reckons game developers are spending too much time on balance and not enough time on fun. There's no doubt that balance is one of the most buzz about topics in live action service games, with titles like Diablo 4, Marvel's Rivals, and Overwatch constantly pushing out patches largely dedicated to nerfs and buffs in an effort to make the experience as fair to all players as possible. However, Palestad argues that a perfectly balanced game is an illusion not worth chasing, save for a small percentage of development time. Speaking during the Game Developers Conference 2025 panel that Games Radar Plus attended, Palestad made the case for minimal balance updates in favor of interesting game design. Balance is a myth. Fun first, balance later, he said. Game designers nowadays are obsessed with balance. Balance is 5% of the work that you should be doing. It's the polishing stage of the game design. If you start thinking about balance and using that as a method of success, you're an idiot. Balancing is not game design. Game design is about experience. I agree with that. If you balance out all the chaos, you made an uninteresting game. Balance is the polishing of the object. And if you smooth that out too much, it will just be a non-experience. While Palestad sounds pretty unbothered here, Helldivers 2 is among the many online games that have struggled to find the harmony between balance and fun since launch. Yeah, so I totally agree with that. Because first of all, I freaking love Helldivers. It's been a while since I played. But when I did last play, it was when the Illuminate came out. Illuminate, and gosh, they are so fun to fight and all that stuff. I know there's been some updates since then, but I remember when Helldivers first came out, it was a whole bunch of patches and all this kind of stuff. But the thing is, here's the thing. Yes, there do need to be some type of balance, but not at the expense of the game, where it's just because no matter when all these patches was coming out for Helldivers 2, some people will be happy, some people won't be. This and that. People are going to complain regardless. What you do now, there is some balance and stuff that you have to do. The patches are important. You have to listen to your players and all that kind of stuff. But when you obsess with it, after a while, it could. What the hell is that? I'm sorry, I just found some random thing on my desk. But after a while, it just stopped being fun. You can't, when you start trying to balance stuff, overbalance it, you lose the fun out of that. And that's why I said too much balance is unbalanced, because now it's like, okay, yeah, the game is straight and narrow, but what else? Because I'm gonna tell you now that I've never seen so many bugs in a game, but yet it makes it a part of the game. It makes it fun, because there's still some bugs in Helldivers 2. As long as the bugs isn't game breaking or destroys the experience, some bugs are fine. Because the bugs, I think, in Helldivers 2 really enhance the game, in my honest opinion. And like, I'm so serious with that. It just make the game first. Make sure the game works. Once the game is well put, what am I trying to say? I'm kind of tired, and it's kind of my bedtime, because now with my new job, I go to work at I gotta be to work by 7, so I'm up around 4:30ish, and I'm trying to get 8 hours of sleep, so I should be asleep by now. But oh well, this is what I love to do. The point that I'm trying to make is, if the developers, and again, I don't know, I have an idea of what game development is and how it works, but it's a lot more behind it, and I can't criticize too much of something that I don't know much about, which is why I'm like, game developers, when it comes to game development, I criticize the art. When it comes to publishers, I criticize their motives and what they're doing. So yeah, what you think about balance in video games, Steven? Right, it's just got to be, as long as it's fun. And I'm sure, because I played Marvel Rivals before, I'm sure, they put out a couple of patches and all that kind of stuff. The game is fun. But if they do too much, if they try to do too much balancing, everybody's going to complain. And when you take away one thing, the people who like that one thing is going to be upset. And then if you don't do that balancing right, then the people who wanted that change is going to be even more upset. And then the people that like that is going to be upset. But I'm going to say this. You can't make everybody happy. This is my mindset now. You can't make everybody happy. Do what the fuck you want to do. I'm not going to say don't listen to critics. I'm not going to say don't listen to players. Don't listen to the artists. I'm not going to say that. But if you try to do too much and try to make everybody happy, if you can't make everybody happy, sometimes you end up making trash and then nobody's happy. Rise of Skywalker, for example. It's a lot more behind it, but they just try to do too much and it just end up becoming a jumbled mess. So, yeah. Now, on to the IRL portion of the podcast, which IRL stands for in real life. And this portion of the podcast is when I usually read an article that could impact somebody in real life. Not saying the articles I read before about gaming isn't real life, but this is more of an impactful kind of thing, because if a video game sucks, you can move on about your day. But some of these articles that I pull up, or some information or sources, whatever, feel like could impact somebody, could help somebody, educate somebody, inform somebody. And with this article I got, it's mostly in Richmond where I live, but there is some other locations that participate in this thing that I'm about to explain to y'all now. And it's called Where You Been. This article is from Axios Axios.com, which is a Richmond. Is this a Richmond base? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. Axios.com. It was published on March the 13th, and it was written by Carrie. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. Carrie Pfeiffer, Alyssa Wildman Nisi. And it reads as follows. This episode is terrible. All right. Richmond's Where You Been Amazon returns resale store opens Friday. The wait is over for Richmond's Amazon returns resale store Where You Been. Now, hold on. Before I actually start reading this, actually, I'm going to continue reading it and then I'm going to say what I'm saying. Why it matters? The store lets shoppers buy stuff other people have returned for a fraction of the price. Driving the news, the Richmond Where You Been announced last summer opens Friday at 8 p.m. It's open now. Like I said, this article is old. And the former Food Lion in the Quiniosassin Station Shopping Center, Quioccassin. Since the store is relatively new and only has a handful of locations nationwide, we checked in with our colleagues in Columbus, Ohio, where one opened last year to see what it's like. Here's what they said. The trendy chain's price structure means you must decide if the merchandise is worth that day's cost. Come back on a cheaper day and you risk another shopper scooping it up. This is how it works. New items arrive every Friday, all priced at $10. Keep that in mind, y'all. Prices drop daily and hit just 25 cents on Thursday. Many are still in boxes, which employees will open for you until Wednesday afternoon. On Wednesday evenings and Thursdays, you won't know what's inside an unmarked box until you buy it. Okay, that part sucks. I didn't know about that. For example, our colleague passed on this bluefish shaped Our colleague passed on this bluefish shaped vase that caught her Aquarius eye on a $14 Friday, assuming it will still be there on a $1 Wednesday. Turns out it was worth almost $50. By Wednesday, it was long gone. Oof. Pro tip: check retail prices on Amazon before purchasing or passing. Unfortunately, Where You Been requires more time strategy than I'm willing to dedicate to my thrifting experiences, but maybe you'll feel differently. Yeah, that's that. So Amazon had this thing, again, where you been, well, basically any merchandise that has been returned, they will give it to this company and then they will sell it for like I said, on Thursday it's $10 and then it will go down on price. Now, I've seen some news about it, seen some Facebook posters about it, and yeah, things go by, it goes by quick because it's a long ass line. One of my cousins went there, or somebody she knew went there, and it was a long ass line, and things can go by quick. But here's the thing. You getting items that's worth $50, $60, $70, $80, $90 for $10. You know, it's some good finds too. We ain't talking about no bullshit stuff. I've seen people get some Lego sets. You know, Lego sets are not cheap. For $10. Got some nice things, some nice headphones. Somebody got a freaking MacBook for $10. Was it $10? I don't remember. Somebody got a MacBook for surely cheap, because you know MacBooks are not cheap. So I just want to put y'all on game, because I'm not afraid to thrift. I love going thrifting. Some of the clothes I got is from the thrift shop. I am not afraid to get deals or, you know, buy second hand and all that stuff. When I started this new job, I had to buy some clothes. You know, I went to the thrift shop. So I just want to put y'all on game real quick. So that's that. And speaking of putting y'all on game, now we're at the end of the podcast. We're at the last section of the podcast, which is the SMU portion of it, which SMU stands for Squirrel Moments University. And this portion of the podcast is where I like to give, quote unquote, lessons, or put y'all on game, or share some things with y'all that I feel like that could really help somebody, whether it's giving out resources or maybe just a life lesson. You know, now this is not me telling y'all what to do. I am not a licensed professional. This is just me, again, giving out some game. Also, I don't give financial advice, although I will sometimes give you financial knowledge. Like, for example, one episode I did something about a 401k. Not me recommending a 401k, but telling you what it is. Now, this is special. Now, I'm gonna try to shorten it up because this podcast is going on for too long. Usually I end it right here. Now, I got two things I want to share with y'all real quick, because the two things I'm gonna tell y'all is, one is a resource, one is a life lesson. The resource is what I've been using for like over the last year, and I want to put y'all on game. I've been saying that a lot. I want to, for people that's out there that might be struggling. The first thing my first lesson is this: food pantries. My therapist a while back put me on food pantries because I was going to some stuff at the time, some financial stuff, whatever. And my therapist, which I do go to therapy, obviously, she put me on. And if you don't know what a food pantry is, it's basically a location where they'll give out free food. There's a couple organizations that does it, but the one that I know of, the ones I've been to was from Feed More. And basically what they do is they collaborate with like local businesses, or usually for the most part they do it with local churches, where they give away food out to the people in the community. And I went to a lot of them. You get some decent food. You don't have to pay for that food. It is free food. You stand in line, you go to the church, they let you pick out certain things out of certain sections. And I ain't talking about no bullshit food either. All of this though, there's no such thing as bullshit food in my opinion. Food is food. But we're talking about like, I remember one time I picked up a whole chicken. They had some wings, vegetable, fruit, cake, bread, milk, cereal. Of course, you can only get a limited amount, but when you struggling, that free food, I'm not gonna complain about when it comes to. I'm sorry, y'all, my throat is dry. That's just telling me I need to end this podcast. But when you're struggling, you're not gonna complain about no free food. Shoot, like for example, I'm not a bread person, but when you get a loaf of bread, when you get bread that's over a foot long, whatever. I'm not talking about like the pre-cut, like the sliced bread. I'm talking about like the what is it called? I can't think of it right now. But when you get a whole thing of bread, and your money, your pockets is tight and all that kind of stuff, I'm not gonna complain about it. I'm not a big milk drinker, but if you give me some milk right now, I will go to the store and buy some cereal if I have the money. But I want to put people on to that, because let's just say you're a college student, or like I said, money is tight or whatever the case is. You can go to your local food pantry. Again, one of the organizations is called Feed More. I know there's, matter of fact, hold on, let's go look it up real quick. Let's go, hold on. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and look it up. Feed More. Okay. So Feed More is Virginia based from what I'm looking at. Yeah, Feed More. If you live in Virginia, obviously this is going to help. But their website is called Feed More, FeedMore.org. And what they do is they give you resources to find food. Again, most of the time it's churches that have it, or like I think some schools have it. Yeah, it's mostly churches, but they will connect you to like places that participates in the food banks or the food pantry to get free food. And is it just Virginia? I think I will say this. Look up food pantry in my area or something of that nature, and they will point you in the right direction to get free food. It's not a whole lot of food, but when you got nothing, when you got little to nothing, it is very helpful. Oh, and let me put y'all on another thing. I wasn't even planning on talking about this, but since we're on the subject of food, salvage grocery stores. Basically, what that is the food that grocery stores decide to return or stuff that got damaged. Like, let's say during transit, the cereal box got crushed. Obviously, they can't sell it in that, like the Walmarts or the Food Line. They're not going to sell it. But what they're going to do is they're going to sell it to like a salvage grocery store, and then they're going to sell it. So look up salvage grocery stores, because I've been to that too. And I've got a lot of food or a decent amount of food for less than $50. Shoot, less than $30 actually. Shoot, they always have a sale on cereal. Buy 2 boxes, and I ain't talking about the little ass boxes. I'm talking about the big ass boxes. 2 boxes of cereal for $5. Just make sure to look at the dates. I would definitely say that. Just make sure to look at the dates, because of course they're not going to sell expired food. Well, they might sell a little expired stuff, but just look at the dates, because it might not expire that day, but it might expire next week. So just be aware of that. So if you are having, if your pockets are tight, I'm not saying you broke, but you might need to free up that budget a little bit. Just, you got the food pantries, and you have the salvage grocery stores. Because again, I have no shame in it. I will do, again, going back, I will do thrifting, I will do food pantries, I will do what I need to do in order to get what I need. Again, I shop clothes at the thrift store, plus you find some good stuff at the thrift store. So yeah. And then here's the second lesson. This is here's a lesson that will wrap this whole thing up, from what we talked about at the beginning until end. I might have, the way that I convey it might be jumbled all over the place, but the message is there. Don't be afraid to start over, y'all. And I might have talked about this before, but I don't know if I talked about, I don't know to be honest with y'all, but don't be afraid to start over. And what I mean by that is this: shit happens in life. Stuff happens in life. And a lot of times, as human beings, especially us as men, and me as a black men, or any minority, we get embarrassed when we have to start over. Again, like I told y'all, I had to trade in my 2012 Dodge Charger RT. I had to do that, and I had to quote unquote downgrade. I don't really, and now that I think back on it, I don't really look at it as it is a downgrade, but it's, gosh, I love how that car performs. But talk about my Honda Accord. I don't even look at it as a downgrade no more, because it is a nice car. I mean, I went from a 2012 to a 2011, but because usually when you buy a new car, you go up, you go up, you go up. I kind of went down, I went backwards. But what was I about to say? Again, I lost my job, so I had to do a little bit more, do more lift. I had to ask, to borrow a little bit of money here and there, whatever. What else? I think I told y'all this, but when I first moved, I had a SUV. It was a 2002 Ford Explorer. I had to sell that. I was mad I had to sell that, because Um, and I love that SUV. And the reason why I got that SUV is one, it helped me move. You know, I just wanted that independence. But I had to sell that, you know, because it needed some work done, and I just didn't have it to get the work done. So I'm like, I still have at least a car, but it's not just about the car either. I had to sell a couple of other things. Like, for example, I had both the Series X and the S, which the S I ended up getting for free because I ended up trading my Xbox One X, and I got just the right amount to get it. I don't need two fucking Xboxes, so I sold it. I sold a couple other things. I don't remember everything that I sold, but I sold a couple other things. I got rid of some things, you know. So that was my, you know, again, had to get a new job. So basically, in my version, what was going on with my life, I basically had to start over. But sometimes that's what you got to do. Sometimes you have to recuperate, you know. One of the things that, and the funny thing is, when I was going through what I was going through, my dad, he told me, if it gets real bad, come back home. And I told him straight up, I don't want to come back home. Nothing against him. It's just a me thing. I don't want to come back home because this is my second time, you know, having my own place. And I said, I'm not coming back. Again, it's nothing against my dad, because when I lived there, it was awesome. It was cool, but I just wanted my own space, my own independence. And plus, I wanted to do content creation without being disrespectful to him. And what I mean by that is being loud late at night, this, that, and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. So, but if I really had to, if it came down to it, it will hurt me. I will be hurt, and I might even cry like a motherfucker. But if I had to, I would go back to my dad's house. I will go back to my dad's house if I really had to. If you got to start over, if that's what you got to do, whether you sell some things, whether, you know, you got to leave that toxic job, if you got to sell your home, sell your car, if you got to start from the beginning, go back to school, whatever you had to do in order to recuperate. It's nothing wrong with starting back from step one again. It's nothing wrong with starting back from square one. It does not mean that you lost. Some people, when they have to go do these experiences, they think that they lost and they think that they failed. No, the fuck you did not fail. I know I said that strong, but I feel real strong about it. You did not fail. If I don't want to, I will work my ass off to keep this apartment, because I want my own space. I want to be able to work what I want to work on, this, that, and whoop. But if I had to, I would take that punch and I will go back. So if that's what you have to do, if a relationship didn't work out and you had to, you know, do what you got to do, if you lost all your money, if you lost your savings, it's gonna hurt, but it's okay to start over. If you gotta sell some stuff, if you have to drop out of school because of whatever the reason is, it's okay, as long as you have a plan on going forward, as long as you keep going and not be stagnant. So it is okay to start over. Don't be afraid. Don't let that pride get to you. Don't make it, oh, they're going to think this of me and they're going to think that I failed and this and that. And if somebody does think that of you, you don't need them in your life. I don't care if it's family, friends, mama, daddy, cousin, whoever. If they say, oh, you're a failure because you started over, you don't need them. I love you, but I'm gonna love you from a distance. And I'm so glad I had the family that I have, because all of them are supportive of me. You know, they are in the back of my mind. You know, sometimes I be thinking, oh, they're gonna think this of me, this, that, in the back of my mind, even though I know they're supportive of me. But at the same time, if I had family like that, it will hurt, but I'd be like, luckily, as far as I know, I don't. So Yeah, that's all I got. Was there ever a time you had to start over, Steven? Oh, really? Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Well, I'm glad you started over. I'm glad that you started over, and I'm glad that you're still here. I'm glad that you still want to do this podcast and all that kind of stuff. Want to do the podcast with me because I've been through some stuff, and the fact that you seen some stuff, the things I've been going through, and I seen some stuff that you going through, and I also learned something new about some of the stuff that you went through. But I'm glad we're still here, able to talk about it. So yes, that's all I got for y'all. I'm keep saying this. I love y'all. And I think y'all so much. If you made it this far, I thank y'all so much. I love y'all so much for supporting me, because this is something that I really love to do. And honestly, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I almost lost my vision. And I don't mean like physical vision. I mean like the vision of doing content creation, doing the podcast, streaming and all this stuff, because there was a time where I just stopped doing it. It's not because I didn't want to do it. It's just, I almost lost the passion. It was just like, I almost said fuck it to everything. But I was like, I invested too much money in this. I invested in a lot. I don't want to say I built a community, although that is my goal. I don't know if I want to say I built a community yet, because I'm not there yet. I don't think I earned to say that yet. But I have definitely built something. I know there's people out there that watch me, that loves my content and all that kind of stuff. And I just, I almost lost a vision of why I did, again, the apartment and all of this in the first place. I almost lost the vision. I almost did. But as of recent, that's all I've been wanting to do. That's all I've been wanting to do. I have a lot of stuff that I need to edit, y'all. A lot of stuff that I want to put out. I want to get back to the Let's Plays again. It's going to be a while before I do a Let's Play, because the Let's Plays that I want to do now are not cheap at all. Luckily now I have the equipment, so it's just a matter of costumes and finding the time and all that kind of stuff. But I'm happy that, again, I know I only have 600 and some subscribers. I know I don't get a lot of views, but the small views that I get, the likes that I get, all of that kind of stuff, the likes. Did I say likes already? I don't know, but I appreciate y'all. I really do. I love doing this. I love doing this, and I'm glad that I haven't lost the love of doing this, because, again, I haven't did an episode of the podcast in almost a year. And there was a time I was doing the podcast every 2 weeks. I started slowing down a little bit, because I was like, all right, I'm overdoing it a little bit, but I was still doing it. I was consistent with, videos, the TikToks. I remember at one point I was dropping 1 to 3 videos a week, 1 to 3 TikToks a week. I was streaming once or twice a week. Again, the podcast I was consistent with. I was doing all of that, and I almost lost it. I almost lost the vision. I almost lost the passion of it. But I'm glad I'm glad I'm doing it now. And there's still gonna be some more ups. There's gonna be some downs. But I appreciate y'all support. Again, I don't have no big fan base. I'm not gonna act like I'm a big YouTuber, a big content creation that has thousands of subscribers, because I'm not there yet. But I appreciate the audience that I have. I appreciate y'all that's watching. Even if I only get, this episode only gets 5 views, I appreciate all 5 of y'all. I really do. And for those that watches me and want to support me, again, all my social medias are Urban TV. They're on the screen. If you're, again, listening to the audio version, I have Instagram, which I'm most active on, YouTube, of course, Twitch, Kick, TikTok, Twitter. I think there's another one. I can't think of it, but whatever social media is out there, I probably have it. It's iUrban TV. Again, you can subscribe to my YouTube, like my videos, audio version. Again, you can rate them, give them 5 stars. Although this one probably worth 2 stars, but because I was all over the place. But yeah, and again, you're not obligated to, but if you want to if you want to financially support, you can make a donation to my Cash App, which is iUrbanTV. And the reason why I have the the Cash App as the donation thingy is because right now I'm not at that level yet where I can use YouTube or Twitch or whatever. But again, it don't matter. You're not obligated to. If you don't want to, again, I have no problem with that. Again, the reason why I tell my stories and my hardships and all that stuff, again, it's not because of the woe is me. I'm not gonna beg y'all. I don't want nobody feeling sorry for me, nothing like that. I like to tell my experience so that way there's some relatability. Y'all can learn from me, learn from my mistakes, and y'all also don't feel like y'all alone going through what y'all going through. Seriously, because I know we watch YouTubers, content creators, and all this stuff to get away from the problems that we're going through. Whatever problems we're going through, we want to escape that. And that's why we go to YouTube, TikTok, and all this stuff. We want to escape that, not come across more problems that we're feeling bad and feel like we're going to have to be responsible to get you out of there, which that's a whole nother topic. But I appreciate y'all. I really do. Both me and Steven does. So with that being said, again, follow me, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Do you have anything else, Steven? Cool. All right, then I'm gonna let y'all go. And as usual, promoting peace, gaming, and wings.